So in one of our previous episodes, we had a look at the sine function. We were drawing some curves, some oscillating curves with this function. And let's continue studying this function. This time we're gonna be animating something. And we will also discover a new function called map that can help us a little bit with the math. So I'm gonna start here with this very simple program where I'm setting the size to 400. I'm setting the background color and the fill color. I'm removing the borders of our objects and I'm activating the smoothness. So our circle or our ellipse here is gonna look a little bit better. And then I'm animating. I'm just erasing the screen all the time and then drawing the ellipse in the middle of the screen. So nothing is moving for now. So to get started, let's change this fixed horizontal position by some randomness. And we just are going to get an horizontal position between 0 and width. So our circle is jumping really fast there. This we know, we have used random many times. Let's switch now to noise. And for this I will use a variable which will start being 0 and then it will slowly increase. A equals a plus 0,03. And here I will use noise of a. And we know noise returns a number between 0 and 1. So now it's just moving there very slightly. So I should multiply it by some number if I want it to move more. Now it's going to move up to 10 pixels. So there is moving between 0 and 10. And if I type here 100, then it's going to be moving between 0 and 100. And what we really want is to multiply it by width. So we can have it anywhere between the left and the right border of the screen. And now let's use the new function we learned in a recent episode. I'm just replacing noise by sin and I'm leaving everything equal. And there is now our circle that moves, disappears somewhere on the left and then comes, touches the right and again disappears. And why is this happening? Well, we know this function sin can give us a number between -1 and 1. And when we multiply this by width, what do we get? -1 times width is minus width. And 1 times width is just the width. So we are getting a number somewhere between these two values. What is minus width? So if this is our screen here, in this case it's going between 0 and 400, or this is actually the width, minus width is somewhere out here. Imagine a screen the same size like ours, and this will be minus width, this point here. And that's why we don't see our circle, because our circle starts here, moves to the right until it's touching the right border, and then goes back all the way here. So during all this time here, we cannot see it. How could we have it moving between the left border and the right border? We want to have values between 0 and 400, or between 0 and the width. I hope you can see the circle is moving around a center. It's moving around 0. And then it moves some amount to the right and some amount to the left. So if we want to have it moving around the center, then what we have to do to make it move around the center is add this amount. I'm going to add here width divided by 2 plus something. So now it's going to be centered on the middle of the screen. But now it's going out on both ways. And this is because, of course, if you saw this picture here, it's moving all this amount. It's actually a distance of 800 pixels. It's 400 to the right and 400 to the left, because we are multiplying by width. So we should be multiplying by 200 actually. 200 is actually this distance, half screen. So now we are located at the center of the screen, and then we are moving 200 pixels to the right or to the left. And there we have our animation. But I can imagine this math is not always so easy. So that's why I want to show you a function called map that can help us with this. First thing I'm going to do is to move all these values here. This is our x position, so I'm just going to type here x. And I will declare it before in a variable, float x equals all this thing. Now, instead of having to know that I have to use the half of the screen and then again the half of the screen here, I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to leave here the sign of a, and I'm going to use this function called map. Map takes 5 parameters. The first parameter is the number we are interested in, so it's this sign a. And then we have to tell in 2 parameters what are the minimum and maximum values that this sign here can have. Well, we know that's between -1 and 1. And then we have to give it 2 more numbers, and these are what range do you actually want to have. So I want to have it between 0 and width. That's the right range for our screen. So now if we run the program, we can have it there moving between 0 and width of the screen. And this is much easier to change now, because imagine you want to have it between 0 and 100. You want to have it moving on the left border of the screen. Or what if you want to have it on the right border, maybe between 300 and 400. So you have to do much less thinking for this. I think it's actually great if you know how to do the math without using map. But this will help in some cases, and I'm going to try to explain here how is this actually working. So I'm gonna draw here a line with all the possible numbers. This will be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And to the left it will be the negative numbers, -1, -2, -3. And we are using the sign function. The sign function gives us a number between -1 and 1. So we are getting a number somewhere in this range here. And actually what we would like to have is a number between 0 and 400. Or we can call it also the width. Somewhere here on the left would be -400. And here would be 200 and maybe here 50. So the range of numbers we would actually like to have is this one here. It's between 0 and 400. I'm going to draw here also the 100. So now imagine I want to transform this number here. It looks like 0,5. How much would this look like in our new range? So when we call this function map, what it does is it's like stretching this one range into another range. So our map function is taking this number. We are asking this number, how would it look like in this new range? So it's like stretching this group of numbers into this new group of numbers. We know the 0 is the middle between -1 and 1. We know that 200 is in the middle between 0 and 400. And so it looks like, well, this is not very well drawn, but the 0,5 would be on the 100 position. And we can just try this out. We can execute map 0,5 between -1 and 1, then 0 and 400. And we can print this out, and then we can see what are we getting. I'm gonna do this here inside the setup. I'm gonna do print map 0. Actually, it was -0,5 because it's on the left side of the 0. So it's map 0,5 between -1 and 1, and bring it to this range between 0 and 400. Now if I run this program, it tells me here the new number, or the number in the new range, is 100. So I hope you can see how we can use the map function to transform a number that is in one range of numbers to a new range of numbers. We can use this not only for the case of the sine function that is it's returning values between -1 and 1. But we could use this also for the noise function, which is giving us values between 0 and 1. And we can, the same way we can transform this. Then in that case, we would use here 0, 1 instead of -1 and 1.